So I feel like we should do 17 together. It's just a repeat of what we've been doing, but it's maybe so easy it's hard. So I'm going to rewrite this problem 17 so I can know what the center and the radius of the circle is. And the first step that I did on the very first one of these problems is to isolate the constant. That always needs to be done. The number that doesn't have a letter, if there is one, needs to be on the opposite side of the equation. So adding 4 to both sides, I get x squared plus y squared equals to 4. There isn't an x to the first power term, so I don't need a c for the x's. There isn't a y to the first power term, so I don't need a c for the y's. I could actually just rewrite x squared as x minus 0 squared and get it in the form so I can pick off the x coordinate of the center. I can write the y is y minus 0 squared, and I can square root the 4 and get 2, and I can write that as 2 squared. This is actually it. This is the equation that's written in the form that I can pick off the radius and the center. So this would be a perfect answer for problem 17. That's the equation of the circle. Or I could have written it as x squared plus y squared equals 2 squared. So anytime you don't have a first power of that variable, you don't need the c. For my graphing, my center is going to be the point 0, 0, and my radius is going to be 2. So I'll plot the point 0, 0, go up 2, down 2, left 2, and right 2, and draw my circle the best I can. That's the end of that kind of problem. We just have 2 more problems left, and they're not particularly hard. They look way harder than they are. And it's nothing more than using the equation that we've been beaten to death. So problems 19 through 22 give me some information about a circle. It gives me a center and a point on it, and it wants me to find the equation. It doesn't ask me to graph it. I'm not going to take the time to graph it. I don't need to graph it. I know that if I want to create an equation for a circle, that my answer is probably going to look like x minus the x coordinate of the center squared plus y minus the y coordinate of the center squared equals the radius squared. Turns out that I have a lot of the information. I know what the center is. The center is 1, 5. That means the h in my problem is 1, and that the k in my problem is 5, because the center goes directly after the x and the y in the respective parentheses. So that's what the equation's about to look like. I need to solve for the r, and that's where I'm going to pull off my other point. My other point is the point x equal to 5, y equal to negative 3, and it's a point on the boundary of the circle. What I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to take the x coordinate of the point, plug it in for x in my parentheses that needs an x deleted, and I'm going to plug negative 3, which is the y coordinate of the given point, in for the y coordinate, and this will allow me to solve for the radius, or actually for the radius squared. Let me do the algebra now. 5 minus 1 squared I can write as 4 squared. Negative 3 minus 5 squared I can write as negative 8 squared. And r squared I can write as r squared. I'm wondering, and I'm worried that my r is going to be funky. Yeah, it is what it is. I'll live with it. This is going to give me 16 plus 64, it is going to be funky, equals to r squared. What a horrible problem. This gives me 80 equals to r squared, and I don't know what the square root of 80 is. I'm not going to reduce it. I wanted this to come out to a nice number like 16 or 36, but it doesn't. r is going to be the square root of 80. So I have the r for my equation. I almost have the equation up here. Let me finish up my equation. My answer to this, the equation of this circle, is going to be x minus 1 squared, which is x minus the x coordinate of the circle, x minus the x coordinate of the center, plus y minus the y coordinate of the center equals the radius squared. That doesn't look good. Let me write it down here. My equation is going to be x minus 1 squared plus y minus 5 squared, sorry for this horrible number, equals the radius squared. That would simplify to 80, but I like leaving it written with the square. I would have a heck of a time graphing this because the march that I'd have to do, I'd have to go up, down, left, and right 8.9, and that would be hard to graph. But I'm not asked to graph these. I'm just asked to write the equation, and this is perfectly the equation that fits. It has a center of 1, 5, and it passes through the point 5, negative 3. Really bad problem to lead this off. Let's do 19 together because we've got some time. This is a short video. So let's work on 19. Hopefully this comes out better. So already I know that if I want to find an equation for a circle, it can be written in the form x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And I know that the h is the x coordinate of the center, which is going to be negative 2. The k is the y coordinate of the center, which is going to be 3. So just by knowing the center, I know I can write this equation as x minus negative 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared. And then I have to do the algebra to find r. Algebra is pathetically easy if I make the numbers come out right. If I make the numbers come out wrong, then it's kind of funky. How do I find the r? I'm going to take the point that I haven't used yet, which is x equal 1, y equal to 7, and plug into the parentheses that needs an x, the x coordinate of the point, into the parentheses that needs the y coordinate of the point. And I'm going to do the algebra to solve for r. So first parentheses, I'm going to make it 1 plus 2 quantity squared. Second parentheses, I'm going to write it as 4 squared. I'm going to leave the right-hand side r squared. This is going to give me 3 squared plus 4 squared equals r squared, which is 9 plus 16 equals r squared. This gives me 25 equals r squared. I'm going to square root that 25 to get 5, and get 5 equals to r. So into my standard form, I need to, on top of putting negative 2 in for h and positive 3 in for k, I need to plug in 5 for r. So the equation of my circle that fits what it needs to fit, meaning it has a center of negative 2, 3, and it passes through the points 1 second, 1, 7. The equation of my circle is going to be x minus negative 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals r squared. One more problem left for both of us. I will do 22, you can do 21, and we'll be done with this section. Don't slough off. The next section is easy, but it's word problems. You got to spend some time on it. A lot of students don't spend time on it, and they miss a ton of easy points. There's a lot of points from the next section on the test. So let me find the equation of this circle. I'm going to use my only formula I know for a circle. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. I'm going to plug 4 in for h, and I'm going to plug in 1 for k because the center splits between the h and the k. This is going to give me x minus 4 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals r squared. Now I'm going to use the point, x equal to 4, y equal to 6, to help myself figure out what to plug in for r. So replace the x with 4, y with 6 into the equation that I started with the center. This is going to give me 0 squared plus 5 squared equals r squared. This gives me 0 plus 25 equals r squared. That gives me 25 equals r squared. I'll square root my 25 and get 5. So 5 equals to r. So into this equation, I'm plugging 4 for h, 1 for k, and 5 for r. My equation of my circle that I need to find for this is going to be x minus 4 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals r squared. So that's everything we're going to need to do for circles. Hopefully you got into a little groove and these problems don't feel so bad. I mean, they're a little hard, but college algebra, and you're going to get some grunge in this course, and this is part of the grunge. So let me pause this and we'll move on to section 2.4. Make sure to spend extra time in 2.4. It's not hard if you put some time in with it.